You're listening to Al Pastor, the show that helps you love God, love your neighbor, and eat more tacos. I'm your host, Pastor Brian. Welcome to the show. Well, hello. I want to come to you with another episode. We are going to be covering Exodus 25, verses 31 through 40. I'm going to take a very, very different approach with our reading for today and offer some practical suggestions for you. We really want to increase the level of engagement, not just with me, but with you and your family. And so hopefully we have been transitioning to a point of this non-negotiable habit of gathering around the family table. The family table should be the center of biblical education in your home. And so what a great opportunity to be able to do that today. This is a very short reading. It's not a complicated reading. There's nothing too terribly mysterious or esoteric in anything that we're reading. But I do want to point out, of course, that this gold lampstand, also known as a menorah, is just incredibly an incredible representation of who Jesus Christ is. This all points to who Jesus. Now remember, the tabernacle is a pattern that shows the way of salvation. It's all for the glory of the Lord. And so some practical suggestions for you would be as you sit down and gather together as a family, maybe you could put out some blank sheets of paper and ask the kiddos, could you draw what you think is being described from these verses? And it's pretty detailed, so give that your best shot. And this is before you go into any kind of resources or anything like that. And see if they can figure out what this would look like. And then we want to know, how big would this be? How large would it be? And so what we find in verse number 39 is that it says that it should be made of a talent of pure gold. Now, without looking at Google, because this is what people do, begin to flex the resources that you have. And so everyone has an invaluable resource that, quite frankly, is just taken for granted for whatever reason. I mean, you've got folks that'll spend hours and hours of training on everything else. They'll learn how to use their phones and every which way. But when it comes to Logos Bible software, you have a powerful feature that is called the fact book. So over verse number 39, let's establish how much is a talent of pure gold. What is a unit of measurement, obviously. So how much would that weigh? And then once you make that determination of the weight of a talent of pure gold, now you can go ahead, and you might have to use Google for this one, is find out how much would an ounce of gold be today, or a pound of gold be worth today as of this date, right? Gold fluctuates in price. And then now you have a little math assignment, right? Now everybody's going to roll their eyes like, who wants to do math? But the purpose is to say, how much would this thing be worth today? Once you determine the weight and the value, and that can help put some things into perspective, okay? A couple other things that I want to highlight is, although this points forward to Jesus Christ, it also looks backwards. The golden lampstand is a representation of the tree of life. And we can tell by the way that it's decorated, and that's for a little bit further study, but there's definitely that motif. So we're going back to the garden, the mountain of the Lord. It seems fitting with what we talked a little bit on Bible study as far as Sinai being set up as a wilderness tabernacle in itself, of the mountain, the three-tiered system. So we look back at the tree of life, and then we look forward to Christ himself as the light and the life of the world. I would also highlight the location. Where would this be? And just to break it down and make it a little simple for you, this would be in the holy place. So it is in part of the sanctuary, but this would be enclosed in total and complete darkness. The curtains that were used were 4 different layers. They would be incredibly thick. Blackout curtains is the concept. And so this is very, very significant to light shining into the dark places. So I would go into the Gospel of John and the epistles of John, specifically 1 John chapter 1, and even the Gospel of John chapter number 1. And you will definitely see the New Testament writers that pick up on this motif of light. And then what is a practical application for this as well? Like, what does this do for our everyday lives? Well, one, it serves as a constant reminder. You and I are to be what? We are to be salt and we are to be light. Jesus is the light of the world. We are to also walk in the light, aren't we? So I would also encourage you to see, can you find any references to not only Jesus as being the light, but also God's word as far as being a light or a lamp? And so we see this possession that we have. Christ inhabits us. We are now, as believers, the tabernacle of God. He has come. Not only did he tabernacle into the world and was made flesh, but on the day of Pentecost, he also tabernacled inside of us. And so how should that affect the way that we live, the way that we walk, the way that we think? So there's a lot of different directions that you can go in this. And so again, I'm trying to frame this and trying to help you. And I want you to hear it from me. Again, this should be a non-negotiable for you and your family. Normal Christianity. Gather around your table, spend some time, and if you say, I don't have time, then guess what? You are out of order. You're out of alignment for God's will for your life. Plain and simple. I'm not saying that as like trying to beat you up over the head, but you need to take a step back. And if you're too busy for God, there's a problem. There's a problem. So gather your family together, not just once a week. We don't do this at church. This should be something that is daily. So I hope you're doing good. If you've got any questions, if you've found any gold, full pun intended, right? Share it with me. And I know you're going to get a bunch of different questions, and that's okay. Whether it's from your family or from your kids or whoever it is that you're gathering with, and just have fun. Engage in God's word. Interact with him. Give him some time in prayer. Give him some time in worship, and see what God can do in your life. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to Al Pastor with Brian Overturf. If you found value in this, please subscribe and get updates most places podcasts are available. We're right here on Anchor FM through Spotify, also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. I hope you'll tune in for the next episode. Until then, we'll see you later.